Hi guys, and welcome to the warp. And here, my guest this time is, of course, Logan Kirillian.
Swimming in the warp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very fun, very fun.
right.
Unfortunately, we have not gathered for very good news today because, guys, last week I did a video about John De La Rose. If you are watching him, he's doing the same type of things, the same type of content as ENDYMION. He's reporting on the news, but sometimes he's also reporting on the Warhammer 40k news, and he's basically fabricating some of the stuff, and he is making something out of nothing. So it's kind of like, if you're a journalist and if you're reporting on, let's say, a hostage situation, if you don't hear anything from the hostages for the last, 10 minutes, you're going to report that probably everyone died.
Yeah.
You're just going to speculate and scare everyone that are
I,
listening.
I heard a rumor that everyone is dead. So it must be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem is, guys, that John De La Rose, and I actually want to thank him that he replied. He wrote a comment on my video and said that I gave him constructive criticism, which is good, but he's gonna continue doing the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'm actually doing a video about as well what Endymion said about Ghost of Utah, which is still connected to Warhammer in a way. And I gave an example in that video, you will see when I finish it, with someone that actually creates great content without speaking nonsense and fabricating stuff. And that someone is Metatron.
Yeah.
He's a history channel, history-based channel, and he is extremely objective. He has a ton of people behind his back working for him. By this point, he's successful because he's giving very well checked history information. He is very credible.
Yeah, he's not fabricating stuff like I heard that the ancient Romans had TVs.
For example.
Yeah, so it must be true. Yeah.
Yeah. And I am in the Warhammer world, and Logan, because of me, he's also in the Warhammer world. He got familiar with it. So it's a new universe that he also discovered. And I cannot stand, honestly, as a viewer, if you watched my video about John De La Rose, I just cannot stand fabrication of news. And this whole thing about Amazon and the 40k shows started from Arch, because he was the equivalent of the journalist that is outside of the hostage place, reporting that nothing is happening, so everybody must be dead. So if you watched Arch, you would know that he reported basically nothing, that we have not heard anything from the GW project, although knowing very well that the GW report said that they will only inform investors, not us, investors, when there's something of note. It literally said so. I also covered it, I also read it, and that is what it says. So everyone that has some kind of a genuine desire to present the news the way that they are without blowing them out of proportion will absolutely want to keep the integrity of the news and of himself, themselves, whatever, whoever is giving the news. They want to have some kind of a credibility and integrity, but they are doing the opposite all the time. And I'm talking about, once again, about Endymion, which we're going to take a look just a few minutes of his video, which is the latest video. You can watch it to the fullest extent if you like to listen to opinion piece and fabrication from start to finish, but we're only going to take a look at the first few minutes. So you can see what the heck he's saying about this whole thing is just outrageous nonsense, outrageous, like blatant lies and fabrications.
I actually still wonder why is he even covering that when he's not exactly familiar with the universe,
No, he's not.
with the franchise. He played the game probably now.
Yeah, just because it's popular.
But he started, yeah, exactly. he started a bit before that when the female custodian became,
I
a
think.
news, yeah, a thing, and I think that was the first moment he heard about Warhammer or something like that. So I keep wondering why exactly are
It's
you
because
doing
of
this?
the
Yeah,
clicks,
of course.
so more
Yeah.
people can find him. And Kit is here.
Hey, hi, Kit.
What is the old Eddie saying this time? Old Eddie, hot there. Yeah, Kit,
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely hot air, yes.
Okay, so let's see what he says. This was just a bit of an intro and catching you up, guys, if you haven't heard about all of this. But this has all started, I think, last week or the end of the previous week from
Something like that,
Arch.
yes.
Again, repeating the same things over and over again, and then decided that dark place. Again, repeating the same news. Nothing was done. No money was allocated. Nothing. Guys, we had an official news from GW, official report, financial report. They have spoken, so to speak, to their investors, and they were very clear that if they get to some kind of an agreement to up to December, including December,
Exactly.
and if there's something of note, they're going to let investors know.
Yes, not us.
Then
So
we're gonna probably know somehow if we do get that information in some kind of a channel. I don't know how, but the point is they will not speak before we get anything of note in any case.
exactly.
And where else? In what else company, like this universe or whatever, where do you see constant updates about movies and TV
Absolutely.
show productions?
Especially when they're negotiating for projects or things like that. I mean, if they say we are going to make a new Batman movie, usually that's the thing, the news. But if they say yes, we are making it for sure, we hired a director, and then the updates start, for the people. But before that, it's just negotiations again. Investors and everything. Does it move? When exactly did we get news about things like that every single week or every single day?
And well,
I
no,
heard that
like
James
never.
Gunn hired a new coffee boy.
Yeah.
So do we need this? No.
Yeah, where the
So
heck is our trailer for Superman? Like some people even are saying that when we're talking about the DC universe, but the movie, finished filming like what 2 months
I
ago
think
or
two
something.
months ago, yeah.
There cannot be any trailer at that
Absolutely.
point. It's
This is not how
ridiculous.
it works.
Anyway, let's continue with Endymion. We're going to take a look at the first like 7 minutes or something like that, and we're going to stop it, and yeah, let's begin.
Everyone, it's ENDYMION. I've been doing a lot of Ubisoft stuff lately, but I wanted to take a break for a second here and shift the focus away for this video because there's some things we really got to talk about, and I'm not seeing nearly enough people knowing about this.
Which is nonsense because the news have been out for
2 weeks
almost
at
2 weeks
least, yeah.
now. Yeah.
So in this video, we're talking how Henry Cavill's Warhammer series might actually be dead officially. Space Marine 2
It's not official?
It's not official.
If it is
Yes.
official, I'm gonna report on it.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
what are those people gonna say if it isn't cancelled at the end of the day? We're just gonna wait for December.
Yeah.
Who's chief officer blasting the game's industry for being overzealous morons, and we gotta finish with that new branding of Halo, because there's a lot to say there too. Firstly, Henry Cavill and Warhammer 40k. As you likely know already, late last year, Games Workshop announced that they were officially partnering with Amazon to work on a Warhammer 40k live-action universe. Akin to their Rings of Power series, I know not the best comparison, probably made a few of you cringe at the idea of Warhammer getting that same treatment.
There's no reason to believe that Warhammer will get this treatment because
Yeah.
unlike Tolkien, GW are well and alive and they
Yeah,
can actually
yeah.
speak about how their universe is supposed to be presented on screen. They released a new animation just 2 days ago by this point, which they deleted. I don't know why. We are planning to react to it. We were supposed to do that today, but we just
But
cannot.
Endymion decided, nah.
Nah. And it
So-
is like everything else that GW produced so far. It's purely Warhammer through and through. The only thing that was not true and true, which I spoke about in my John De La Rose video, was the creation all of a sudden of the female custodies. That's the biggest insult to people's intelligence and breaking of the lore. Other than that, everything else is consistent with the quality of Warhammer 40k and what 40k is. So we have no reason to believe that GW are ready to relinquish this totally to give up on the integrity of their IP and just give in to whatever Amazon could ask from them. We don't know. We cannot talk about that with certainty. We can speculate, but we cannot talk about with such certainty as he does.
Kitty saying so.
And yeah, okay, developments are ongoing. Who knows? I have to work. Have a good day. Well, to you too, Righteous Inquisition.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
So Kitty saying, "Oh Teddy," I can't see from here.
Oh, Teddy shouting out his butt again, out of his butt again. At this point, he's clickbaiting and hoping people will not notice. Yeah, but we did notice.
But we do notice that,
We
yes.
were also regular viewers, and you know, I mean, one day, I'm just listening to the Warhammer news. I'm just listening to the fabrication out of his butt. I'm like, what are you saying? That's not true. Okay, continuing.
But it's the reality, sadly. Obviously, this project or projects would be massively expensive considering Warhammer tends to star people like Space Marines that are obviously way taller than your average human beings, and the monsters are disgusting freaks that will likely cost millions in dollars in CGI to produce.
Disgusting freaks? Monsters?
Monsters are
What
disgusting.
are you talking about? They're epic. They're not disgusting at all. They're pretty freaking amazing. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna cost money. Amazon, billions of dollars, and they're ready to do ton of CGI for Rings of Power. They can handle 40K if anyone can. It's actually their budget, Amazon's budget. So please, do not start.
Well, now it may just possibly be all dead. From that Park Place rumor, Games Workshop and Amazon entirely content to let Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40K live action project die.
That's not actually a rumor.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
not-
Arch fabricated.
Yeah.
It's not actually a rumor. He just decided to say that. Like, imagine if you are watching the news once again, guys. There's a reporter just sitting there and have nothing to report. So all of a sudden, she's like, okay, then no news. Nobody said a
Nothing
thing.
happened. Yeah.
Probably everyone are dead. Let's go.
Yes.
True.
This is called, because we are in the warp. This is called warping the truth.
Yeah,
So,
brilliant.
you know.
Warping the truth.
Warping the
Thank you.
truth.
Thank you so much. We have to put that somewhere, like
on
a
a
huge
t-shirt.
sign or
Yes.
something like that. In the grim darkness of the future, there's only clickbait. They do those. Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
not. But there's a lot of that. Oh, shite, I'm late again, Mr. YouTube guy.
Well,
Mr.
you're
YouTube.
here. So
You're almost close to being on time.
The information here comes from a friend of the channel called the Archcast, and based on what he's been saying, the dream may just be dead, fellas.
Hold on, guys. The Pomeranian scratches the couch. I gotta put the volume a bit up for us.
Pour a bit out for Warhammer, hug your bros, and scream at the sun. It's probably not going to happen.
Oh my gosh, hug your bros and scream at the sun. Can be like, can you be any more like outrageously ridiculous here? Like how much you can expand on the nonsense?
And I'm actually beginning to think that people like Arch and ENDYMION and John Leolos actually really don't want this project to happen.
No.
For some weird reason. Is it because they think that then other people will find out about the hobby and they don't want it to happen?
No,
I
no.
can't see it.
They just want to push negative news because that is what
Yay.
gets clicked on it. And that's why I say if this is actually getting approved, it's going to turn out that they're reporting real crap this whole time. I'm sure they're gonna came out with some kind of excuse for this, of course. They're gonna be like,
they
oh,
were
we
just
thought
rumors and I thought and
yeah. They're gonna just sweep it under their rug and that's it.
Arch explains that the agreement between Games Workshop and Amazon has pretty much not been going as well as we would hope it would. Arch said that back in June 2024 that around this time Amazon and Games Workshop were entering what was considered a pivotal moment for the series. They were pretty much at the halfway point of their contract and things hadn't been going smoothly and nothing had really been done with the property so far.
What contract? They don't have a
don't
contract
have a-
according to you as well. I mean to ENDYMION,
ENDYMION, yes.
and to Arch and to John De La Rose. They had nothing, and Henry Cavill was executive producer. But then in the next line, if you watch that De La Rose video that I covered, he's like, but he's probably not having any influence, and so on. Which one is it?
They just promised him that he'll get a role. I mean, what?
What about the executive
What about the
producer
executive
news, which is
producer? Yeah.
actually facts? I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of the factual news, not the I speculate from my butt news. Warping the news from my
Warping the news
butt.
from my butt. Yeah.
The three possibilities at that point in time was either there would be a script and or idea ready that would get greenlit and then gain momentum. The second possibility was that the entire project would be shelved until later when someone with a functioning brain could actually think of something to do with it. And finally, the third option was that the project would just simply die and we'd never see a live action Warhammer show from Amazon.
That's all fabrication again.
Yeah.
We're just coming up with options here.
Yeah. Option 1, option 2, option 3.
And what actually
do
it
we know
said
that?
on the report was that they have to reach some kind of agreement until December, and if they don't, well, nothing is happening. That doesn't mean that in the future nothing will happen. That doesn't mean that Warhammer, not Warhammer, GW will not go to, let's say, Netflix and say, can you
can you
adapt
do
this
that?
for
Or-
us? You also
yeah.
have billions. So does not, I mean, all of this does not mean anything. That is it. We can just sit here and try to imagine stuff, literally.
In my opinion, as much as I would like to see a live action Warhammer show, I personally believe it would be simply far too expensive to do in a manner that would be satisfactory for fans of the franchise.
Absolute nonsense again.
Yeah. And
think-
again, that's only his opinion.
Yeah.
The best course of action, maybe I'm wrong, let me know, would be that Warhammer takes the animated route instead. Sort of like how Invincible was adapted on Amazon as
Why, when GW are already doing this by themselves?
Yeah.
You know, it's not very often, but
But
they
they're
can
still
do
doing
it.
it,
They
yeah.
don't need Amazon for
Yeah.
that. So they can, like, maybe say, need Amazon to distribute it,
To distribute it or
to
something
play
like-
it
Yeah.
on Amazon Prime. But besides that, they don't need this company to produce it. So to say that it's better to go in the animated route, well, first, it's not, because
Yeah.
Warhammer is deserving of live action. Second, Amazon have the money. Thirdly, GW are independent in that kind of a way, and they can commission other studios to do that for them. And this latest animation is by Bandai Namco,
Yes, of all the people.
of all the people.
Imagine that, yeah.
So for that, they don't
So-
need Amazon.
So apparently they have some type of money to pay to Bandai Namco to do that. So here we go. Also, wouldn't they really want to have that just for in Warhammer Plus so that you get subscribers and then a live action show to be by someone else?
Yeah, and Mr. Mewchip says maybe they had something on those information, but they also might take some parts from these rumors out of context. From my PVO, nothing is certain at the moment until it is confirmed. Yes, but there's no rumors. That's the
There are
thing.
no rumors.
Art
Yes.
just came out and said that his sources are saying that nothing is happening. Basically, that they don't have any information to tell us.
Yeah.
So let's panic.
So that means panic. Everything is dead. Doom and gloom everywhere in the grim darkness. There is no show.
Yeah,
There's
there's just grim darkness,
There's just grim
nothingness. Daniel says Warhammer on Netflix would work. Yeah, could.
Could. Yeah.
There are also asses there,
Yes.
but there's also some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kid says he wants negative news because he is gambling on his channel to grow. I want to see the show and see it work. I want Henry to succeed. Eddie is purposely misleading people. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
His sources is his invisible friends. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Great.
an animated TV show over live action, even though apparently they still want to do a live action movie of Invincible 2 eventually, which seems pointless, but alright, I guess. I
It's
do
not
think if
pointless.
Warhammer got the clone
Yeah, it's not
you
pointless.
have more audience like that because still no matter how much popular the show is, still not many people actually watch
Animation.
animation despite being for adults.
Very much
You
so.
get more butts in seats if more people will know about Invincible like that.
Could look
And-
amazing in live action.
and absolutely, and they and then they'll find out about the animation and the comic books and things like that. So,
Yeah, it's great. It's not pointless, Jesus.
Wars TV show treatment, and they told stories that way, it would be much more manageable and far less cheaper to do as well. Obviously, they could reuse enemy models aplenty, and you would skirt your way around depicting your characters in terms of their believability in size. If they just made the series look like the Space Marine 2 CGI trailers, it would still be expensive to do, I understand that, but likely still cheaper than doing it live action. I mean, the massive scope of Warhammer's worlds alone would be ludicrous in terms of the cost when it comes to depicting them properly.
That's also nonsense because most of it could be done with the same CGI that they use in the games, it's just they want to make it more photorealistic. I mean, it's very easy to create massive worlds with CGI, especially in the new engines these days with the new stuff that they have of their disposal. It's much easier than it was before.
They created the Gotham City in Batman Forever with CGI in 1995.
Yeah, 1995.
1995, yeah, so...
So please. And Afro is here. He says, sorry I don't catch you live more often, Princess. I'm glad you dedicated your channel to truth and not speculation. Thank you. That's what
Absolutely.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the example that I have is Metatron. Like I said in the beginning, because you didn't catch the video, but he is the one that grows with integrity.
Absolutely, yes. Not by just clickbaiting and
Not by
negativity. Yeah.
speculation, not by lying to people. He is actually having the thesis. He has the articulation to bring the information to life and to explain it to such an amazing way, especially for someone that also does not speak English as his first language. It is
Absolutely, yeah.
absolutely amazing what he is able to do as an Italian guy. So I take a lot of inspiration from him. I'm like that in general by default. But the way that he is talking, he's explaining, just amazing to me. I'm fascinated by
Absolutely,
him.
yeah.
There's so much that you can learn because at least you know that when you're watching Metatron, you know that he has team of people that he checked and double checked
Yeah.
that are academics. They're checking also the information. He's saying things that I never knew before, like for when the Cleopatra information, I mean, not information, the bull crap of Netflix came out that, Cleopatra was black. Metatron went far and beyond to prove that she was white as a piece of marble.
You know, now that you said that about Cleopatra, I actually think that really what these three guys are doing with their news is exactly like that thing in the trailer. I remember how my grandmother told me that she was black, therefore. So it's the same thing. I heard a rumor or Arch said that, so,
Yeah,
let's
so
panic
it's
now.
true.
Yeah.
Let's not look at the proof at all. So yeah, and of course we do know from regular history that Cleopatra was not black, but the point is that he even talked about African queens that actually existed, and we have not heard about them because no one is covering that.
Yeah.
No one is taking this part of history and presenting it to people in the way that more people actually are going to have interest, to understand, to learn. We don't know about these queens that are real African queens. African, I mean black, because Cleopatra was an African queen just because she was located in this region, but she was Greek through and through. She was not Egyptian anyway. But yeah, the point is that why not focus on these queens if you want diversity, inclusivity, whatever, and show real history of black queens. And you're taking a white queen and you are you're changing history. You're trying to change history for what? Why don't you respect the other queens? Why?
Why not?
Even one was like a warrior woman that really led her troops, and people actually respected her, although she was a woman. That's fascinating. Why don't we watch this?
Yeah, why don't we use that to show, the things that they want to show, like inclusivity and stuff like that? I mean, how else are we supposed to learn about these queens?
Yeah, so basically Netflix then pooped on history, and Endymion, Mr. Delarose, and
Arch.
Yeah. They're trying to poop on the news now. Great. And thank you, dear Clayton, so much for the super chat. Oh my god, that's absolutely lovely. Okay, continuing.
Henry Cavill could still be in the series that they make, voicing a character, and maybe even they could do his likeness in the show as well.
Yeah, why not just make it small? GW can already do this by themselves once again.
Absolutely.
Stop
yes,
it.
Yeah.
But I do personally think that a live action version would not work just because it would cost way too much money to do. And when it comes to live action, as you know, they always cut corners when they can. It's usually why whenever you watch a new TV show, that the first episode is amazing and full of production value, but then episodes 2 or 3 suddenly aren't as bombastic or quality driven. This is because, in case you don't know, the most expensive episodes usually of a live action series are the first and last episodes of a season, and the rest of the episodes have varying budgets depending, of course. I don't know, but if you ask me, would I rather have a 1-hour Warhammer live action episode with a $100 million budget, or an entire animated series that costed but a fraction of that 1-hour live action version?
Great Endymion, just go on Warhammer
We
Plus and watch a
go
whole
there,
series,
yes.
Angels
Yeah.
of Death.
Yeah.
Also, Angels of Death prequel. Also, Hammer and Bolter. How about the other, like the Exodite and the other smaller series? They're all there, okay?
Yeah.
They're not that many, but they're a few. They're quite a few, and they're all freaking there. CGI and everything. Like the Tides now is pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pariah Nexus, amazing quality. Excluding the female custody. I have to repeat that every time.
Excluding that thing, yeah.
Excluding the female custody. Okay.
You know, if we just cut those scenes and we just have a custody that is silent and with helmet the whole time, great. Great
Yeah.
episode, right? Someone should do an edit on that. Yeah. So, really, why wouldn't it work live action? Because it would be too expensive. It's Amazon again. They have the freaking money.
Yes.
I mean, they spent how much millions or billions on that imitation of a show called Rings of Power.
Yeah, most expensive show ever.
Yeah,
And they still continued it.
and they still continue it. Yeah.
There's a lot of CGI there, a lot of things to look at. And in Warhammer, like, what do you think that a few armors here and there, yeah, maybe they have to CGI some parts of the Space Marines. Although there's a lot of camera work that could go into different sizes of people and
Yeah,
look
like,
very real, like in Xena the old days.
Yeah, or like in Lord of the Rings, you know, with the hobbits and normal people.
You
know.
can actually do that. There's a lot of camera
Absolutely,
work,
yeah.
but it is absolutely possible to dress a man with that armor. You can see cosplayers. Just, of course, gonna look a lot better in live action. There's a lot of ways to make the armor move. There's some structures that are built in the
In
you
the
know,
elbows and-
yeah, the elbows, so all of that, which cosplayers do know about. And I mean that you can create these types of armor to look very good and be functioning, not be CGI as well. Many people have done it with some good lighting and like mist or whatever. They can actually make those look good and be live action without CGIing the Astartes. So yeah, I just okay, whatever. Continue.
Maybe I'm wrong and they can do this justice, but this is Amazon we're talking about. Rings of Power alone kind of tells you that they already can't get what should be simple right to begin with.
Once again, Tolkien is dead.
Yeah.
They don't have the rights to Rings of Power. They can do whatever they want, which is not the case with GW.
Plus I think, was it his nephew or grandson, you know, Tolkien's grandson, I think, who has the who has the rights. He doesn't care all that much. Not as
Unfortunately.
Tolkien's son before that, who also were keeping things pretty tight. Grandson is just money. Okay, no, do whatever you want. Oh, that's the show. Okay.
Yeah.
Money, right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so it's totally different IPs. It's totally
Absolutely, yeah.
different the people who sit behind those IPs. And once again, so far the proof is pointing towards the fact that GW want 40K to be the way that it is, excluding the female custody. Everything else, it's just Warhammer is the same, and the female custody even is the same as every
Yes.
male female custody.
Male, female
It's just
custody.
every
I mean,
custody would
pretty
be.
much.
So it's not like you know, that's not. I mean, as a custody, whatever she was according to what custody is, but just in a female, a bit of a Karen, arrogant
Yeah,
form.
yes.
Other than that, it's still Warhammer, no matter how nonsensical that is, which does not excuse it at all. But I'm just saying that at least GW overall, 90-something%
Yeah.
totally are creating what the universe is. and they're not interjecting anything in it, like any talking, like, well, I'm a female and you're a man. Like, I never heard such a line of this sort still in 40K, and I hope I never
Let's
will.
hope, yeah.
Of course, somebody will do this now, probably, in the comments and
But-
tell
but-
me
but-
that, yeah, the fantasy universe, Gary, there's a lot of wokeness there. Yep, sure. But that is where they allow stuff to happen because, it's just not that popular and big. And the outcry there is basically almost non-existent. So they're testing maybe there, but so far, once again, they don't have any reason to actually change everything and ruin it. Clearly, there's not gonna be all of a sudden female space marine out of nowhere. I mean, I know that that's what happened with the female custody, but because it's not said that, I mean, it is said that only men can be, yeah, that is said, it is there, but with the female, not Astartes, yes, space marines, with the female Astartes, okay, female Astartes, it says exactly the process of creating them. So with the custodians, we don't have the process creating them. And maybe they decided that is like a loophole, we're going to interject. It was not a loophole, but they still like
It wasn't. No.
excusing it with that it's, I mean, people excusing it with that because GW, they don't need to excuse it according to them. They're just going to say that female custody is always there. That's
I
what they
like how
said.
people find the excuse about, there was ideas in the in early models in I
Yes.
don't know, first edition, second sentence that they wanted to have that as an idea. Oh, but they didn't do it then. How can you use that lame excuse? I mean, they had the idea back then.
It was not,
Did they play out with that idea?
No.
It's-
it was not greenlit. It never happened. It was never canon.
yeah.
We know the reasons about the female space marines, that there was no interest, all those things, but they were probably not even fleshed out. It was so early days. And later on, when they created the Sisters of Battle, Sisters of Silence, they still exist. People still bought them. It's not the same with the Space Marines, but people still like them because they're very interesting. And if only GW can elevate those and create more about them, make just more lore, more stories to show how epic they are, because the Sister of Silence in the Tides animation was amazing. She actually
Absolutely.
felt very close. I mean, that she was direct and kind of concerned about what was going to happen to the people that were
Yeah,
there.
Absolutely.
And
That was much more compelling as a character than the Karen there that says, "You men, I know, so listen now."
I'm here,
I'm here.
to command obedience.
Yeah.
Well, the stories command obedience just with their presence. You don't need to say to a space marine that you are here to command obedience. How lame is that?
That thing about the early ideas, by the way, that they didn't do nothing, reminds me how in the beginning when they wanted to create Wolverine, the very first idea was for him to be called the Badger, and to be literally a mutated badger.
Oh my god.
So should we do now something with that, or okay? Let's move on.
Yeah, and also the other example, real quick, is with the Xena fans, the other Xena fans, not me, who say that
there are two types
Yeah.
of Xenofans,
yeah, the ones that are the gay ones and the ones that are not gay. So the ones that are gay always say how Xena and Gabriel are gay, and totally scratching the fact that they both had men throughout their lives. I mean, not Gabriel had only one because she
It
was
was a
younger, but
fluke. It was a fluke.
but then Xena, had men this whole time, and everything was like in a subtext, and all the things that happened were actually, I mean, which were little kisses like 3 times in the whole series, were because something happened and Gabrielle had to like put water into Xena's mouth to revive her or something. It was not because she wanted to now smooch. But fans will tell you that there's 100% lesbian because the showrunner was kind of lesbian, not the showrunner, excuse me, one of the
One of the
writers
writers.
was a lesbian, so that means that Xena and Gabrielle are lesbian. And then Lucy Lawless and Renee O'Connor, which plays Xena and Gabrielle, had to say that they are out of the screen. I mean, behind the scenes,
Behind the
out of the
scenes, yeah.
show, to please everyone. But that was never canon. It was never established.
Who everyone? To play, who everyone?
Well, some small part
Some small, yeah.
of the viewers that are
Okay.
actually gay, and the others that were not were like, Zina and Gabriel are gay? What are you talking about?
I mean, my mother also watched that show too, and she never thought that.
No, but it is canon according to them. But no, it's not canon. If it's not in the show, if it's not established in the lore, it does not happen. So,
Arch also had a lot more to say on this recently, so he said, and I quote, "It has been complete radio silence on the matter of the TV show ever since we had the last update the last time around.
and that's the only real news here. That's radio silence.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
let's fabricate news.
Yes.
It appears as if both Amazon and Games Workshop are entirely content to just let the project die.
Why?
How it appears?
How?
How exactly? Because it's radio silence. But they said when they are going to say something, if there is something worth of note, this is not. We are not in the World War II, and every 10 minutes you have to actually have something in the radio to know what happens, right?
Morse code.
Or Morse code,
Din, din,
yes.
don, din, dan, dan, dun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even with a 1-month extension into January, nothing seems to have been produced. Still no money is allocated, still no accounts have been created. Still
And that is just a repeat of the last time that Arch reported, and just literal repeat of every word.
no contracts have been signed. Henry Cavill's influence is likely extraordinarily limited if he has
Why?
Based on what?
Based on what? Yeah.
any influence in the matter at all at this moment.
Why wouldn't he? He was like the guy that started the whole
Yeah.
thing. He even said in one interview that I actually presented last time in my Joe Del Rose video, he said, I have to talk to the guys over GW.
Yeah. I mean, what is he supposed to barge into GW and say, why aren't you doing anything? I demand to speak with a manager, with the female custody behind
We
him.
don't know if they're not doing anything.
Yeah,
We don't.
we don't know.
They could just decide shows or movies right now as we
Yeah,
speak, and we will know.
Absolutely,
If they have meetings, if they
Yeah.
hold meetings, we're not there. We cannot be
Yeah.
at the meeting. Can we be at the meeting, GW? We're just small fans, but can we
Can
just
we be? Can just
like
tell
break
us
the door?
every 10 minutes that something is happening. So,
Yeah, we are entitled
absolutely.
right now.
Yeah.
Tell us what you know.
Tell us. Talk. Tell
He
us
doesn't
what
have
you
an
know.
employment contract with Amazon or Games Workshop, merely the promise that if the product ever actually goes through, he will have a role in it. Both sides have concessions. The female custodies thing, for example, was almost guaranteed, in my opinion. A move on behalf of Games
Why is guaranteed?
Workshop to
Yeah.
placate Amazon or demonstrate to them what would happen if they were to push for female Space Marines. Massive out
There's absolutely zero ground to stand on when it comes to female space marines just yet. Like, we cannot speculate. We can speculate, but we cannot say that certainly there's gonna be female space marines like right now, just tomorrow. I mean, if that happens, once again, I'm gonna report on it.
Yeah.
But I will never say with a certainty that is
Yeah.
going to happen, because once again, to happen, there's gonna be a lot of things that have to be changed in the lore this time. It's gonna be totally different to pull off, unlike the female custodies.
cry that is, and to hammer it home to them that, yeah, this is not going to be a very good idea. Meanwhile, of course, Amazon has their diversity quotas, and they also want the Space Marines. They're not really interested in an Imperial Guard show, I'd reckon, because they're not the poster child, even if an Imperial Guard show would be, well, one, cheaper, and two, more easily relatable.
What?
How?
First, they're not the poster boys of the whole universe, and yeah, people like the Imperial Guard, but they are much less interesting just because they're like a lot of other soldiers in other universes, and people will not see that much special, especially if you don't know Warhammer. And you have to think about people that don't know Warhammer. What is going to impress them?
Yeah.
What is impressed me were exactly the Space Marines when I first saw them. If I just saw a regular soldier, I will like assume that this is another war game,
Yeah.
and I will not think anything of it if
And
this
that's
is the
it, yeah.
first time I see anything from
Yeah.
40K. So if you're a studio, the least thing you're going to do is make something about the Imperial Guard, because that has to be an afterthought after everything else as the universe is established, so people actually know what the hell 40K even is, because they don't know. They are used to it with Star Wars, Dune, and Star Trek, and Stargate, and whatever, which is so
Just that.
different. Yeah,
I forgot.
so different compared to what 40K is. Just so different. And if you want to show how different it is, how deep, layered, massive it is, and what makes it interesting, you gotta start with explaining how the Imperium is. Who is the Emperor? What is his deal? Who are these soldiers? How are they created? Like, lore.
Yeah.
Show the lore.
Showing the process of how they create them, So yeah.
Okay.
Lutku said something interesting.
Yeah, I've joined some 40K groups in Facebook, and I'd say most of them want my 40K going full woke. Well,
Leave those groups.
one. And second, Lutko, really, on Facebook, because it is the same with me and my Xena groups before. Mostly people that interact with these groups are already there and interacting because they are woke, meaning that most people that have intelligence and life will not even comment in these groups. And that is why I left the Xena groups, because they're all gay people there and actual fans that love Xena for the meaning, the depth, the story, and the characters. They will not touch those groups with a 10-foot pole, because the only conversations that you see there is the sexuality, the shipping of Xena and Gabrielle, and only that matters. Nothing else matters. Not the wisdom of the show. No, just sexuality and those stuff. So it's kind of like with other IPs as well. People use Facebook to lash out and just to like do this, spew like their deep problems there.
Did people ever ship the Hercules and Iolaus?
Yes, they did. There's actually a lot of art depicting them kissing.
Oh boy. Yes, Lutku, leave the groups, yes.
Yeah.
He says, yes, same stuff. Yeah, leave it, yes.
Those people are not representatives of the actual Warhammer core groups of people who consume Warhammer. They are painting, they're watching the animations, they're participating in a tabletop, they're interested in the books, the lore, this whole.
It's like in comic book groups. I constantly, when I was before in some groups like that, I could constantly see people shipping, different characters that were never supposed to be shipped. Like I'm sure that Tim Drake Robin and Dick Grayson Robin are gay and they love each other, because in comic book issue 2075, page 13. They look at each other. Or because Dick Grayson put his hand on Tim Drake's shoulder.
That means that they're in love.
Yeah, so, yeah.
100%.
These are no real fans whatsoever, as we say, yeah. So yeah. What to say? Groups like that never really work. So, Lutku, just stay here. Leave the groups and just stay here and watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, just a bit more.
They did give Games Workshop the account access, for example, to flag various items on Amazon's websites to take down things that Games Workshop were of the opinion were in violation of their trademark. It may be that Games Workshop got a little bit uppity and decided to demand that their own authors be allowed to create the screenplay. Again, the Black Library authors are excellent book writers, but they have no business writing screenplays, and Amazon probably knows that. And Amazon probably knows it can't really afford another big flop here, right?
Why not Dan Abnett? Isn't he like very experienced writer?
I was going to say, for example, Dan Abnett, who, wrote not only comic books and other stuff. I mean, I think he would do a good job. I'm not sure actually if he didn't write on some other shows or things like that. Have to check that. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think we're gonna end it here. That's enough. You can watch the whole thing and see what else nonsense he said. but it is ridiculous, just as
Absolutely, yeah.
ridiculous to be fabricating the news this way. And they're just like taking the news is like this, that there's no news, and then everything else just coverage of the same things, and then bloating it with opinion and creating a whole lot of nothing burger.
Absolutely. Which stays in
Right.
the warp. It's already warped.
It's already
So, yeah.
warped, yes. Also, it is called Facepalm Book.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see each other very soon. And yeah, if you'd like to support me, the links are down below. I'm doing coaching, life coaching about fitness, health, nutrition, sex education, basically helping you with your intimate relationships, showing my physique updates, talking about diet and all those stuff, normal, non-slaneshi content, which I am uploading at OnlyFans because the site is also good for normal content and educational content as well. So I'm using that site for good. That is it. And you can also become a member of the channel, Patreon, all those things. With me and Logan Canadian. Bye bye.